How urgent do you think it is to have transparency for the public to know what really went on in this grand jury room?
Oh, the urgency is, I mean, it's immediate. We need answers now.
With police being spared serious charges in the shooting death of Breonna Taylor, her loved ones want answers.
They want to know what evidence did Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron present to that grand jury.
The decision did not touch on any of the actions that led to or that were involved in the actual killing of Breonna Taylor. And this to me is just absolutely shocking.
How is it possible that so many legal minds like yours can see so many holes in this case, so many problems with this case, and that the grand jury somehow did not?
Which is why we need to see the transcript. We need to understand how this case was presented to the grand jury. We know that there is a proclivity by many jurors to believe police officers no matter what. This to me goes to the heart of the very concept of Black Lives Matter. Does the life of this extraordinary young woman who was sleeping in her bed after working 4 shifts as an EMT, does her life matter? Her life does matter.
Breonna Taylor's life mattered!
For months now, 26-year-old Taylor's name shouted on the streets amid calls for police reform. But hopes for criminal charges may be dimming.
In any other circumstance, I would suggest that there could potentially be a federal civil rights prosecution. I would suggest that there could be a pattern and practice investigation of the Louisville Police Department. I hold out little hope for that with this Department of Justice.
Under President Trump's administration, the Department of Justice has dropped the use of consent decrees, which allows the federal government to oversee troubled police departments. After last night's protest in Louisville, where 2 officers were shot, the president responding today to the latest developments in the case.
I give my regards to the family of Breonna. I also think it's so sad what's happening with everything about that case, including law enforcement.
The initial warrant was what's called a no-knock warrant, meaning they can arrive at the house, they don't have to announce themselves, they can literally break down the door. That was amended so that they were required to actually knock and announce themselves before they came in.
According to the search warrant, police came to Taylor's home seeking to seize marijuana, cocaine, heroin, meth, and all illegal narcotics or paraphernalia. Authorities have said they believed an ex-boyfriend of Taylor's, an alleged drug dealer, was using her address for trafficking. There are reports that Breonna Taylor was more involved in her ex-boyfriend's world than had been reported, which is why police would say that she entered their radar. Does that change anything about this case for you?
Actually, not at all. Well, it makes this case even more tragic because here's a young woman who was involved with someone that she was now extricating herself from and had extricated herself from. There is no evidence that she herself was involved in any illegal activities.
Ironically, that ex-boyfriend had been arrested before officers even arrived at Taylor's home, and no drugs were found in her apartment. The family's attorney saying the affidavit to get that warrant said the postal inspector's office was inspecting packages to Breonna Taylor's home as part of a trafficking probe, something the postal inspector denies. Following a volley of gunshots, Taylor lay dying in the arms of boyfriend Kenneth Walker, who first fired at officers fearing he was under attack. He's crushed, says his lawyer, that the men who killed his longtime love weren't charged in her death.
He basically lived over there. They were, close, and his backpack that he had brought, his overnight clothes, and there were bullet holes in his clothes, and the backpack was like right in the bedroom. I mean, how crazy is that? He held his girlfriend in his arms as she was gasping for her last breath.
How was he doing?
It's tough. And then yesterday opened up more wounds. It was almost as bad as the day of the incident itself.
911, Operator Harris, where is your emergency?
I don't know what's happening. Somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend.
Can you check and see where she's been shot at?
I can't get on the stomach.
Okay. Is she alert and able to talk to you?
No, breathe.
Mr. Walker admitted that he fired one shot and was the first to shoot.
Does he feel that he was blamed?
Absolutely. And I believe that too, based on the press conference that General Cameron gave. Look, the entire world knows that Kenny fired first, but it's why he fired first that's the really important question. That he thought that there was an intruder at the door. So he did what lawful gun owners do. He wanted to protect his girlfriend and himself in their apartment.
The grand jury process is secret, but prosecutors could certainly decide we are going to disclose everything that we presented to the grand jury. And there's a very serious argument that could help answer a lot of questions that people have.
The grand jurors heard evidence that one witness recalls hearing the police announce themselves.
Evidence shows that officers both knocked and announced their presence at the apartment.
What he didn't say was that there was one witness who believes that he heard the police say police once, and that there were maybe 10 or 11 other witnesses who said that the police did not say anything.
No murder charges would be filed, no manslaughter charges either, against officers Brett Hankinson, Jonathan Mattingly, and Miles Cosgrove for Taylor's killing. Instead, Detective Hankinson was indicted for wanton endangerment after firing 10 shots from outside Taylor's apartment and endangering her neighbors.
The only officer charged in this case was essentially charged with firing on Breonna Taylor's neighbors, not even on her. What did that say to you?
Well, I think that's the part that is so hard to take, frankly, offensive. Again, it essentially is an indictment that suggests that had he actually shot Breonna Taylor, he would not be facing any indictments. He's only facing indictments because he missed.
Is there anything unique to Kentucky that makes it particularly difficult to prosecute police officers?
Not that I am able to detect from the laws of the state. Prosecuting police officers and obtaining a conviction is difficult in every state in the country. There is a presumption that is afforded police officers. They very rarely face conviction when and if they are actually brought to trial.
Among the familiar names of blacks who've died at the hands of police, there have been few arrests and even fewer convictions. The rare instances where police officers have faced criminal charges have occurred mainly in the past 2 years: Tatiana Jefferson, George Floyd, and Rayshard Brooks.
What would be justice for Breonna Taylor in your view?
There can be no justice for Breonna Taylor because ultimately her life has been taken from her. But for her sister, for her mother, for the community, and for all of us, I think we need to see that the legal system actually is prepared to function like a just system, that it will function in a way that says no one is above the law, and that wearing a uniform does not make you above the law.
In my view, justice for Breonna Taylor would be acknowledging her humanity.
Activist Tamika Mallory has joined the Louisville community marching in Breonna's honor.
We continuously see this country fail us. We see the process and the criminal justice system, how it fails not just black people, but particularly black women. No one wants to normalize the feeling of being disappointed, of being disrespected, and being slapped in the face by injustice.
This is the actual memorial.
Mallory saying she hopes justice for Taylor will result in large-scale, sustained reform.
The other part of justice is not just about Breonna Taylor. This family has said over and over that they also want to see that laws are passed across Kentucky and across the country that protects the next Breonna Taylor.
Already, some change is happening. Breonna's law bans no-knock warrants in Louisville. The city also awarded her family a multi-million-dollar settlement. Still, it's unclear whether we've reached a national turning point that will spark serious and lasting change in the criminal justice system.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.